For all of those that want to save TikTok in America, vote for Trump.
Hard to make that argument that, like, hey, I'm going to cut a deal, Supreme Court, so never mind what the law is.
Well, it looks like the Supreme Court might not be as far up Donald Trump's rear end as he would like. And he blows so much hot air out of there, Lord knows he's got plenty of space.
And it's deck the halls. Who's going to fart deck the halls?
Trump makes a last-minute plea to SCOTUS to save TikTok, which is set to be banned one day before he takes office. Unfortunately for Trump, though, his last-minute deals haven't gone over so well lately. Just look at him trying to meddle with the budget. Speaker Johnson spacked him down so hard that now they're trying to find a new speaker who is willing to play ball. But this one might not go over so well either. We love bringing you the news as much as you love watching it, so if you like this video, like the video, and make sure that you're subscribed. TikTok's days are numbered as the calendar clicks closer to January 19th, which is the date that Congress has decided to ban TikTok if ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, refuses to sell it to American owners. I'm sure all of you remember this debacle when Republican congressmen put their racism on full display, asking a Singaporean citizen over and over again if he's Chinese.
Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
Let me ask you some.
After that horrendous display, Congress did move forward with excuse me, these names are always so long, Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, and Biden signed it into law. And that basically brings us to where we are now. TikTok is on the slate to be banned come January 19th because they refused to sell TikTok to an American company. And as you heard from the CEO of TikTok himself, TikTok is a completely separate entity from the Chinese version Douyin. So while they believe that should satisfy the Americans' concerns, the United States Congress and President Biden aren't so sure. But not if the wilted butternut squash himself, Donald Trump, has anything to say about it.
For all of those that want to save TikTok in America, vote for Trump. The other side's closing it up. But I'm now a big star on TikTok. We even have TikTok Jack, and we're setting records. We're not doing anything with TikTok, but the other side's going to close it up. So if you like TikTok, go out and vote for Trump. If you don't care about TikTok and other things like safety, security, and prosperity, then you can vote for a Marxist who's going to destroy our country.
Yeah, what a Marxist Kamala Harris turned out to be, huh? It's almost like Trump forgot that he himself also tried to ban TikTok once. Back in 2020, during his era of executive orders, he also tried to get the app banned, but that was before it was useful for him.
President Trump signing 2 executive orders last night banning U.S. transactions with Chinese tech firms Tencent and ByteDance. Tencent owns Chinese messaging app WeChat, and ByteDance is the parent company, of popular video sharing app TikTok. The TikTok order was similar and said it could be used for disinformation campaigns by China. The orders would effectively ban the app in the United States, taking effect in 45 days.
But I guess his tune has changed since 2020, since he himself has used TikTok to, well, win this last election. And he'll be the first one to admit it.
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok has something to do with that. Now, Joe Rogan did, and some of the other people that were recommended by my son Barrett, he knew names. I said, who is that? Tell me, who's that? Dad, you gotta be kidding. I can't believe you don't know. And I did those interviews, and it was actually sort of cute. You want to know the truth? But we did them, and we had a great response with billions of views, billions and billions of views. They brought me a chart, and it was a record, and it was so beautiful to see. And as I looked at it, I said, maybe we got to keep this sucker around a little while. So I have a little bit of a warm spot in my heart, I'll be honest.
Now, I'm no doctor, but somebody should tell Donald Trump that at his age, a warm spot in his heart is probably a sign to put down the Big Macs. Also hilarious that he's taking advice from Barron now that his favorite child, Ivanka, has fled the family. But unfortunately for Trump, it's not looking all roses. The Amicus Brief issued by Donald Trump on the 27th basically argues that, quote, furthermore, Donald Trump alone possesses the consummate deal-making expertise, the electoral mandate, and the political will to negotiate a resolution to save the platform while addressing the national security concerns expressed by the government, concerns which President Trump himself has acknowledged. He's basically arguing as the author of The Art of the Deal. He and only he alone has the business arts expertise to get this deal done. When in reality, he realizes that most of his young audience that won him this election, the Joe Rogan, Velk boys, that cohort of the Republican Party, is mostly congregating on TikTok. So a ban of TikTok is going to kind of splinter this new base that he's been developing. But unfortunately for Trump, it might not go the way he wants this time.
The Supreme Court is set to hear expedited oral argument on January 10th. That's so that they can decide this case ahead of the January 19th deadline. Interestingly, I think that Donald Trump's brief is this great example of the logical conclusion of the imperial presidency, the idea that Congress doesn't matter. Throughout the brief, it's like, oh, Congress said this, but the president is in charge. The president needs to be able to do this.
President Trump alone.
Right. So I think it's, of course, a great press release maybe for President Trump. The Supreme Court probably puts them on their heels to be against whatever he just filed. And interesting because it was signed by the incoming Solicitor General of the United States, John Sauer. I'll tell you that top of the brief doesn't look like John Sauer wrote it. Looks more like Stephen Miller wrote it.
That's the point. This isn't an ongoing negotiation. This is a law on the books. Yeah. Congress doesn't want the law, they can go repeal it. And Donald Trump can sign the repeal. But as long as it's a law on the books, it's hard to make that argument that, like, hey, I'm going to cut a deal, Supreme Court, and never mind what the law is. That's a tough thing to swallow.
And the Supreme Court is not going to say otherwise. Donald Trump in this asked for a stay, meaning he just wants the law to be delayed until he gets into office. Congress chose to have January 19th. Before they knew who would be the incoming president, the Supreme Court's not going to change that deadline.
So TikTok's going to be banned?
Well, the Supreme Court will have a decision before January 19th. There is some chance that they could decide another way, but I think TikTok will have to divest.
Okay, all right.
Well, you heard it there, folks. Seems like no matter what Trump tries, he can't get around pesky Congress. We'll see if TikTok does end up getting banned, but in the meantime, you can always find us right here on YouTube. I'm Tony Hinderman for Really American. We'll see you next time.